Using Cloudera distribution, we can have both Spark 1.6.x as well as Spark 2.3.x running on the same cluster at the same time. However, to add Spark 2.3.x to the cluster, we need to manage the repositories using Parcels. As of now, the repositories related to the services that are installed and deployed on the cluster are managed by packages. That is not good enough to add Spark 2.3.x in our cluster. As part of this topic, we'll be seeing how to convert our existing cluster on which the repositories are managed by packages to Parcels. Once this is done, the repositories will be managed by Parcels, not packages. First, let us understand why we need to have Parcels and what are the advantages with respect to the Parcels. Cloudera recommends Parcels over packages to build the cluster. It is general recommendation of Cloudera to actually use Parcels over packages. Even when you actually set up the cluster using Wizard, when you go to that page where you have to choose the packages and also you have to specify the repositories, there it says use Parcels as per Cloudera recommendation. Now let us actually go through the advantages. When you use Parcels, you don't need to set up local repositories. Cloudera Manager caches the Parcels repositories on the node where it is running and takes care of distributing and installing onto all the nodes in the cluster in a controlled manner. On top of this, it also facilitates easy upgrade and maintenance of the repositories. To use Parcels, the server on which Cloudera Manager is running should be able to connect to the internet. If it cannot connect to the internet, then it will not be able to download the repositories and it will not be able to distribute and activate on the remaining nodes in the cluster. However, if highly secure environment, you might be able to use proxies and work around the issue of the Cloudera Manager having access to the direct internet. That being said, binaries that comes as part of packages will be available under /user/lib. Let me connect to the gateway node here. Once you are on the gateway node, you can actually say cd/user/lib. You can see bunch of directories here. Everything is related to big data ecosystem. There might be other tools also which are not related to big data ecosystem. But when we actually set up CDH using packages, it will create the directories here and all the jar files associated with the services that are installed on this cluster will be in these directories. You can actually search for jar files using find command. You will be seeing hundreds and thousands of jar files which are actually deployed when we install these components using packages via Cloudera Manager. That being said, once Parcels are configured, you will be seeing similar jar files in a different location, and that location is /opt/cloudera/parcels/cdh/lib. Now let us see the steps how we can convert packages to Parcels. So here I am going on to the Cloudera Manager UI. You have to click on this icon which actually says Parcels, and you can see there are different types of Parcels at this time on this UI, and this Cloudera Manager is capable of setting up of all these tools or the distributions using a single click of button. However, if you look at this list, there is no Spark 2 here. If we have to add Spark 2 to this, there are steps which we need to follow, and we will be seeing those things when we see how to set up Spark 2.3 using Parcels. That being said, first we need to download the CDH5. So it have connected to the Cloudera repositories and it started downloading all the repositories onto the server where Cloudera management is running. Once that is done, it will actually show distribute button here. We can click on that distribute and then it will actually take us to activate, and then it will take further. While it is downloading, let us see the steps at higher level. We need to first download, then distribute, and then we need to activate, after which we need to restart and deploy, which means we just have to restart all the services in the cluster and also redeploy the client configurations. After that, we need to uninstall packages. You can only have your cluster using Parcels or packages, but not both. So you can actually uninstall everything using this yum remove command. However, we'll be using Ansible and we'll be uninstalling from all the servers in one shot. Once that is done, we need to restart the Cloudera agents on all the nodes in the cluster. Sometimes when we deploy the applications, we might hard code the fully qualified path of the executables. Typically, with the packages, the fully qualified path will start with user lib blah blah blah. Now, as Parcels are deployed under OPT Cloudera Parcels blah blah blah, you need to reconfigure those paths using this as base directory. So this is primarily the applications which are deployed on the cluster. So you need to sit with developers and make them understand that they have to change these things if they have any hard-coded paths for the executables. Even if you schedule something on the cluster and if you have used fully qualified path of the executables, you need to refactor those things and change it to point to the new location. Once the parcels are downloaded, the button change it to distribute. You can actually click on distribute, and also you can delete if you don't want this, so that the parcels which are downloaded onto the Cloudera management server will be deleted. But when you click on distribute, now it will connect to all the nodes in the cluster and distribute these parcels onto all the nodes in the cluster. Once it is done, we have to activate and we need to take it further. It will take some time because it has to copy around 2 GB of files onto multiple nodes in the cluster, and hence let us wait and then we'll actually see what needs to be done further. While distribution is going on, there might be some temporary errors like this. You can ignore and wait till it is completely done. You can see now that error is gone. So sometimes it is saying unable to deploy on certain host because of whatever reason, but it is temporary. It doesn't mean that there is an issue which might interrupt the distribution process onto all the nodes in the cluster. So let's wait until distribution is completely done and then we will see. If you get the error at the end, don't proceed further and click on activate. What I'll be doing is I will first remove from hosts. Let me clean it up and redo it again. There seems to be some issue and it could not deploy on all the nodes, especially on Big Data Server 1. So let me undistribute and delete it, and then we will actually download and set it up once again. Now let me also delete it to make sure that everything is clean. Now let me say download. It will take a bit of time again to download. It has 2 GB of files. Once that is done, then we will actually distribute. Let me try to distribute once again. This time it is faster because we have distributed in the past. I think they are still cached on all the hosts. Let us see if it will be completed without any issues this time. It has failed again and it restarted again. So let us see if it fail again. I will restart the Cloudera agent on this server where it is failing, and then we will see if it actually resolve the issue. Let me try cancelling. Yeah, now you see again it failed. So let me connect to the gateway node. So this is the server onto which it is failing. Error when distributing to the Big Data Server 1 C cellular, and hence let us try to restart Cloudera SCM agent on this machine, and let us see if it actually resolves the issue or not. It is not restarted yet. Yeah, now it is restarted. Now let us see. Yeah, it is fine now. It is distributed completely without any errors. Again, it is saying distributing 86%. Let us see if it works fine. After restarting the Cloudera SCM agent, the distribution is successful and there are no issues at this time, and hence we can actually click on activate. Make sure you don't see any errors after the activate button is shown on that location. Now you can click on OK, and now it is activating parcels on all the nodes in the cluster. Once the activation is done, the next step is to restart and deploy the cluster so that it will start using parcels going forward. So when we say deploy here, we have to deploy the client configuration, which are nothing but the XML files, configuration files, etc. As of now, we have HDFS, Yarn, Spark, etc. All those things will be refreshed with this change when we actually say deploy client configuration along with the restart. Now the parcels are downloaded, distributed onto all the nodes in the cluster, and are also activated. And hence we can actually go to Cloudera Manager. First, restart the Cloudera Management Service components. It will take a bit of time. You can also check the progress by expanding this at any point in time. You can drill down further if you want. Now everything is started with respect to Cloudera Management Service, and we can close it out. Now we have to click on this because there are some stale configurations as we have changed our cluster repositories to parcels, and we have to redeploy. Along with redeploying the client configurations, we also need to restart. So you can actually say restart stale services. I'm not going to do the rolling restart. Rolling restart means it will actually will not bring down all the services on all the hosts at one time and try to restart. It will take a bit of time on our smaller cluster. If it is production cluster, this rolling restart makes sense. As of now, I am actually removing the rolling restart and enabling redeploy client configuration and saying restart now. This will be faster on our smaller cluster, but in a production cluster, typically we do rolling restart. In terms of rolling restart, instead of bringing down all the services and then starting all the services at one time, it will actually follow the path where there will be least amount of impact for the clients. This also will take some time to stop and start all the services. Let us wait until that is done. You can see here now it actually starting the services. First it will start Zookeeper, then HDFS, then Yarn, then Spark, and we will be good to go. Now services are restarted and also client configurations are redeployed on all the hosts in the cluster. Now we can actually click on finish. and everything should be back to normal and everything should be running without any issues. Let us wait until everything turns into green. You can see all the services are green. With the Cloudera management service, there seems to be some warnings. We'll actually review those things at a later point in time if the issue persists for long amount of time. The reason why these components might be in orange is as we have to restart the agent on all the hosts in the cluster. That being said, the next step after restarting and redeploying the cluster and components in the cluster is uninstalling packages. If you don't uninstall packages, what will happen is, now I am on the gateway node in the cluster. If I say Spark shell and hit enter, you see the warning here. User defined Spark home, which is pointing to parcels now. Overrides detected user lib Spark. So we have both packages and parcels, but it is preferring parcels over packages. There is no point in getting these kind of warnings, and it can run into some surprises for us, and hence it is better to uninstall the packages completely. So I'm killing this session and then running this Ansible command, which will uninstall several components which are installed as part of the packages. You can also run this sudo command on all the hosts individually. However, as we have Ansible set up from our gateway node onto all the hosts in the cluster, including that gateway node, I can run this Ansible command to uninstall everything in one shot. So here I am going into the working directory of Ansible and pasting that Ansible command and hitting enter. It will take a bit of time to uninstall all these components from all the hosts in the cluster. We are almost done with uninstalling the packages from all the hosts in the cluster. Once this is done, we have to restart the Cloudera SCM agent on all the hosts. For that, either you can issue this command individually on all the hosts, or you can actually run this Ansible command, which will take care of restarting Cloudera SCM agent on all the hosts in the cluster. So I'm pasting this Ansible command, which will actually take care of restarting the Cloudera SCM agent on all the hosts in the cluster. Once this is done, if we actually run Spark shell, it will not show that warning anymore. So here I have typed this Spark shell. So let's wait. It will take some time because we just restarted the Cloudera SCM agent. To refresh these things, it will take a bit of time. Now you see Spark shell is launched and there are no issues. When we actually restart the Cloudera SCM agent, it actually relinked all the executables in user bin to the executables in parcels. Earlier it was with packages, now it is configured with parcels. So there was no warning and we are good to go. Once this is done, if there are any applications that are deployed on the cluster which are using hard-coded, fully qualified path for your executables, you need to make those changes manually and then you should be able to redeploy those applications without any issues. Now our cluster is transformed from packages-based repository management to parcels-based repository management. And hence, we should be able to set up Spark 2.3 with a special package called CDS, and we'll actually look into those details as part of next topic.